Hello everybody, I'm Miss Flores and this is my virtual art classroom. Today we will be talking about how visuals and movement can help your ELL student feel most included and learn the best way they can learn in your art classroom. So come with me, let's get started. First thing I'd like to talk about is visual aids. Visual aids are so important for all of your learning. This can range from PowerPoints to videos to the pictures that are hanging around in your classroom. Also to things that your students can have in their physical hands to learn. Say for example, you are teaching a lesson about lines and you're trying to teach your students about vertical lines, horizontal lines, diagonal lines, zigzag lines. You can use a toy snake and demonstrate the types of lines to your students. Or something else you can do is have your students learn as you are teaching. So you can pass out a string, yarn, pipe cleaner, and if they're at home learning virtually, they can use a shoelace or whatever they found around the house. You can say, this is a vertical line, and your students will be able to copy you. Doing that will help your ELL student mimic your motions as well as repeating the word after you, and that will help them pair the visual to the word and adding meaning, which is exactly what we want. This is a great way to teach English without really teaching English. The other thing I want to talk about is demonstration. As an art educator, this is the most important part of your lesson. In my opinion, of course, I think that demonstration is so vital for all of your students, but especially your ELL students, to know what is expected of them and for them to have the space to ask and think about what is being presented, what skills, what strategies, what techniques they are learning. You can record a video of you demonstrating how to do the project. Videos are helpful because your students are able to reverse or fast forward or pause if they need a break. If you demonstrate in class and then provide the video so that they can watch at home, that would be amazing for your students, especially your ELL students, because they might require a little bit of extra time to understand simply because of the language barrier. Do not be afraid of the awkward silences after you say, what questions do you have? You kind of won the awkward silence because eventually your student will say, I have a question. Or they'll say, Miss, can you do that again? That is exactly what you want. You want your students to have the space to ask questions and to fully understand. Another thing you can do while you're demonstrating is have your students do it along with you, or you work along their side. You can have all of your students have their supplies out on the desk. You are in the center, or however you arrange your classroom so that everyone can see you and you can see your students. That way you can look around and see if anyone is struggling or not fully understanding the technique that you are teaching. Also, just a friendly reminder, always walk around your classroom after demonstration. Make sure that you can see if your students are able to move forward on their own or if they need a little bit of extra help. Last thing I want to talk about is TPR, which stands for Total Physical Response. If you're an educator, you're probably already familiar with this term. If you're a first-year teacher, or maybe you're not an educator, this is what it means. Basically, TPR is the combination of words and language with movement and action. For example, if you're teaching a lesson about weather and you're trying to communicate the word cold or the word hot, if you simply say cold, hot, you might not really understand the meaning unless you know English. But if you add movement and expression, it'll give a better understanding. Watch this. I'm cold. Brr, I'm cold. Whew, it's hot. It's hot. That can help your students attach meaning to the word because of the visuals and the movements you use. You want your students to do it along with you or to repeat after you. That will help them use their little bodies to understand. Now, there are two types of TPR. There's instructional TPR, which is you giving commands throughout the day. This can be simple. You can say, everybody stand up. It's really important that you are consistent in your motions. If you say, stand up, and then the next day you say, stand up, or something like that, it might be confusing to your students. So be consistent in the motions that you use. The second form of TPR is educational. And that basically means you are using TPR to teach the content that you have prepared for them. An example of that is vocabulary. You can use TPR to teach vocabulary words in your art classroom, as well as introducing new artists. Say, for example, you are teaching a lesson about moods or emotion. You can use TPR to say, I feel sad. I feel excited. I'm so excited. Using motions and expressions, especially facial expressions, will help your students attach meaning to your word. Overall, including visual aids in your lesson, using TPR as you teach, and creating a space for demonstration will help your ELL students be most included and learn the best way they can learn. Oh, remember to keep an eye out for more videos on how to teach your ELL student in your art classroom.